Keep that in mind every time the enemy of Israel tries to remove the evidence that we have the rights to this land. And so that's what they were doing.
Look at this. So that's the kotel. It's amazing. And now they came down here to this area. It's filled with just dirt, the dirt here. This thing over here is what it looks like. This is just thousands of years, 2,000 of dirt and stones that get washed in, dries up, and the next layer comes down. So they come in and this whole thing is filled, and they know that they're under the bridge. They said, let's take a look down here. What could we find? So they start digging down, and all of a sudden, they come up with this circular structure. What could this possibly be? We've been looking in Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Aelia Capitolina eventually becomes a pure Roman pagan city. It's got to be a theater over here, someplace, and we haven't found it. So finally, they come down here. Look at this. You could see a lot's been carted away, but you can see the bleachers. Yep. And we're sitting in a theater with the stairs. Right. And I'm looking at the stage. And I'm right here under the bridge. Why? What does it give me? Then I don't have to, if I'm under the bridge, then I don't have to worry about the climate. I don't have to worry about the rain and the sun. I got shade. Yeah. This is a proverb. To put somebody on a pedestal, we say that in English, right? This is a pedestal. Yeah. On either side of the stage, you have a pedestal, and on it, you would have put a pagan deity, and that's what we're looking at over here. Now, this thing only fits about 300 people. Is this the theater? Is it a theater? Or maybe it's what's called an odium. Maybe it's the place where the elders of the city or the nobility of the city gathered in order to decide public policy. So that's what this thing might be. But this definitely was an amazing find. I remember when the camera crews were coming from all over. And so that's what this is. And what you see also, though, when was the period of time? Now, if we're sitting here, what's our back up against?
To the kotel.
To the kotel. So it's after the destruction. It's after the temple period. The assumption is that it's sometime during the Hadrianic period. And that's when they changed it. Yes. All right, this is pretty amazing. This nice little model. Oh, this is the building we were in. So we're sitting right about over here. We were right underneath, right? We were underneath the bridge. So we were right over here, right on the other side. The kotel itself is someplace around here. If you get to the southern excavations or not, Davidson Center, I don't know. This you could see, this is the monumental staircase that led down to the city of David. This no longer exists. But you could still see what's called Robinson's Arch over here, right? If you go to the southern exit, you could see the two entrances to the temple from the people from the city of David. Oh. So now it's switch to 3. Oh, this is Hulda's gate coming in. All right, that's if you're going to be on the mountain of Olives, that's going to put you on this side. So you can actually see right about over here, you'll see a seam on these walls, on the retaining walls that Herod built all around to make a greater surface area to rebuild the temple. So you can actually see that if you go onto the Mountain of Olives. And let's see if we get something exciting over here. This is obviously this is what's going to look like back at the end of the Second Temple period. And again, this is what we found. What actually happened that we discussed? This would have been a walkway right here. We had what we call Wall Street, chuckle, all along the base of the Western Temple retaining wall. And that's how it was for many, many years until about 700 years ago in the Mamluk period. So that's when I mentioned to you that the Muslim residents built on arches, and they raised a city that came up, snug up against the western retaining wall and completely covering it over. And that's why you don't see the western retaining wall, even though it really is still there. All of the retaining walls is what you see. That's what's left as the Temple Mount. And that's what happens is that the Romans just gave up on it. They tried to destroy the temple building. They pushed over anything that's like, let's assume that this is floor level. So this was easy to push over. But from here and downwards, it became a little bit challenging, and they're going to do it. So where are we sitting right now? We're not on city level. What does this do for us? Okay, there we go. All right, so we went in under the city. We started out in this tunnel over here. Okay, we walked into this tunnel, then we went inside one of these rooms.
Be careful as you go down. Hold the way. Be careful as you go down.
We're going into this bridge. We're going to be hanging around at the base of the bridge. And then we went down the stairs. Remember we were going down the stairs? Yeah, this we went like that. Then we went down the stairs here. And we went to the next floor down. Wow. We're at the base of the bridge, of the Great Bridge. So we're finding ourselves right now sitting right over here. Wow. Okay? And we're staring at, so in front of us should be, let's see what comes next, should be that we're looking at the base of the Temple Mount, the retaining walls. So let's see what we get. Did we get anything? Anything new?
Lights.
There we go. So we see this is a huge, anybody who was here on the last tour, this is supposed to open, there you go. Oh. makes it easy. This is an easy tour to guide, right? Because it's like so much fun going on. So this thing, these red dots, is supposed to represent where those people are standing in front of that. You could see, look, where the people's feet are at, you could see, they're looking at us, we're looking at them. So you could see that there's like the Herodian stones. Right? They got the frame going around them, and you could see from one stone to the next, there's a seam between the stones. About head level of all those people, you see there's one huge stone, right, that just keeps going. It's part of the tour that last year you were on. That's a stone, it's called the Great Stone. Some people say it's even 570 tons. So that is really, it's interesting to see. It's right over here. And the truth is, not only is this built on arches, but the entire platform of the Temple Mount is on arches. They're built on arches. It raised the ground. So this is what happened. You had a mountain of Moriah, and the slopes of the mountain, Herod needs more room to build. So he has to raise the slopes of the mountain. How do you raise the slopes of the mountain? Arches. You put arches, so then the mountain becomes like that. Put a surface across, something across it, a platform, and then you could build. So the thing is, why do you need a stone right here in the middle that's 570 tons? And there's these retaining walls, keep everything in place. So why do you need something that's so heavy? Well, what's behind this? This whole area has got arches, but it's also holding up the temple itself. So they think maybe it's like flying buttresses. That's what they say. It's like keeping up all the arches. Again, we got the temple itself. The first 2/3 of the building is going to be called the Holies. The last third is called the Holy of Holies. And there's a lot of stuff, but at this point, anybody have questions? Otherwise, we'll continue on our way.
Now, what area it happened that the Muslims were trying to remove the evidence of what was happening under the Temple Mount, and they've actually excavated and removed all the debris to place? Is that close to here?
That's very close to here. So what Dr. Bierman's talking about is, let's say, so this model has, this is called the Royal Stoa, right? Some models will have the Royal Stoa more towards the southern walls, okay? But today, this area you're going to find, this is where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is, and you have, now the Al-Aqsa Mosque is the silver dome on top, but underneath, because we know that it's underneath here you have, it's all built on arches. And here from the middle of the mountain, the top of the mountain, summit of the mountain, going down, so it means this area is like, it's the slope of the mountain. There's a lot of arches and a lot of stories in this area. So the Muslims have, I think, about 4 different mosques built into the side of the mountain. A number of years ago, they were digging out. Removing, and actually they chucked all of the dirt on the side. That was eventually collected, and that's the...
we found a lot of archaeological
coins
and things.
The sifting project.
Sifting, yeah.
Now, what happened is that they were digging too much, and a lot of it also was getting rid of any...
Evidence,
a Jewish connection to this area. So what happened then is at some point you could actually see that the wall started to buckle because too much was removed. And it took a while to get, at the end, I think the Waqf didn't allow the State of Israel to do the construction. I think Jordan eventually came in. They had to rebuild this area. But it's destructive, yeah. And it's
trying to remove the evidence. Keep that in mind. Every time the enemy of Israel tries to remove the evidence that we have the rights to this land. And so that's what they were doing.
I just was reading a book the other night. It's a new book. I could send it. I think it's called When Stones Speak. It's about the city of David. And he goes through also the political hullabaloo behind it when they first started. And it's interesting. I read a story last night that he said they're going to open up it's open the Pilgrimage Road.
Yeah, the Pilgrim Road is not completely open, just the beginning
just
of it.
The beginning
I've
of
been
it.
there, yeah.
So he's saying over there that they were stopping them from construction, from digging it, but they convinced the courts that under the Pilgrim Road there was a water system of Herod, and that's not affecting anybody. They're just digging out so they got permission. He said he only realized afterwards that thank God they worked on that, because that proved the point. They worked on it, and it brought them all the way up from the bottom of the Siloach pool, brought them right up to here. They're able to come out. No, not up to here. Okay, this is pushed over. I have to get rid of this. But underneath Robinson's Arch, there's the exit from that area. So that proved the connection between the city of David and ancient Jerusalem and the temple. Yes. It's like a lot of these things are fascinating.
Those that have been in the city of David, you've been in the Siloam pools with me. You remember? Yes. We even crawled through the Ezekiah's tunnel dry to go back and to get into the Park David zone, the area of Jerusalem. Well, the Pilgrim Road is on the right-hand side, and it's only a little bit open, not completely open. But that's the one that connected, literally, the pilgrims coming from the Gihon Springs, where they did all of the water ceremonies, and then up all the way to the Temple Mount. But every time they try to remove the evidence, but praise God, they haven't succeeded.
Yeah, let's see what this gives us next. I will close that down. And now I'm going to take us back 2,000 years. And is there, for the Christian members of the group, this would be the southeast corner. I think there's mention of the trials, the temptation.
The temptation. Remember when Satan told Yeshua that, if he could just jump, then the angels are going to hold him, and he said, "You shall not tempt the Lord thy God." So that was the pinnacle of the temple right there.
The royal stoa would have been the bar mitzvah, turning over the tables, the money changers that would be in this
thing. The table of the money changers, remember? Yes. Yeah, when he overturned them and he said, "You will not make my house, the house of my father, a den of thieves," right here.
That would be the Antonia fortress, which was the Roman fortress, to be able to jump in on the 9th day of Av, to come into the temple eventually to destroy it. This area, the way this is depicted, you can see clearly the southern extensions of Herod, and your assumption would be that Herod also extended towards the west, and obviously all this towards the north. Now the eastern side is going to fall right into the valley of Kidron. So there's not that much
at the slopes of the Mount of Olives. You saw it on the way here in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of Kidron. Where I showed you the memorial of Absalom, all that.
So that's why this is if you're going to look for first temple stones, maybe
That would be the
it would be
area.
over here, because the assumption is that Herod did not extend out into the valley.
That would be the
It just fall on in.
Amen. By the way, King Herod. King Herod came from a converted family from the Edomites, from Edom. And he was a puppet king by the Romans. He was put in charge to rule over the Jews, but actually was a puppet king of the Romans. And therefore, everything that he did to magnify the temple was to find favor with the Jewish people, kind of, because they hated him. Because he was not like one of them, and not only that, but because he was a puppet king of the Romans, and the Romans was an evil empire that was actually ruling over the Jews that had autonomy. But he was a magnificent builder. I always say he was a great builder and a horrible butcher. He did both things, quite a bit of it. So that's why today, though, we can find a lot of this evidence because of the amazing construction abilities of King Herod. He was called King Herod the Great. He wasn't that great in my eyes, but King Herod the Great.
That's right. I remember when they used to say that poor Israel, right? They don't, there's oil all around the place, but nothing here in Israel. Nebuch, if you know your Yiddish, how's your Yiddish today? Then Nebuch, it's a sad thing. But there was a guy here who originally was, I think, a contractor, and then he got into gas stations. And then he had a crazy idea. Maybe if we go off the coast of Haifa, we might be able to find natural gas. That fellow is named Yitzchak Tshuva, and he did find, and now Israel, little Israel, has now become a major natural gas exporter to Europe. Right? Right, and it's amazing. And also it seems that Israel's sitting on a lot, if we come up with the ecological challenge of fracking shale, but it seems like we have tons of that also. But anyway, what happened is the guy came back over here and he said, and this is like a good introduction before you head down to the Kotel. He just said, it's really nice, like we have where the temple once stood, and he said, it came to the Heritage Foundation that runs this place and said, you know what, we don't have the temple, but we should have a baby temple, a little temple, in other words, a synagogue, which is nicknamed a small temple. Let's make a synagogue near as close as we can to the site. And therefore, I think he gave basically like a blank check. He said, build this temple, or build this synagogue. I'm not sure, I understand this is onyx, what's that? O-N-Y-X, onyx. The flooring is a very beautiful place. This is used every morning for prayers in the morning with the sunrise. That's when the prayers are on a daily basis. And then on the Sabbath, there's 3 prayers in here that you could join. And if you have like really big bucks, then you could rent the place out. But they're for mere mortals. That's the beauty of it. What does this look like? Anybody? It looks like everyone says a pomegranate. I'm with you on that also. I found the artist here one day tinkering with it. He said, no, it's supposed to represent the world with the fire of God's speech. And God builds it with, it's hard to describe it. Right. What it does have on it, on the top in Hebrew, is I place God in front of me at all times. Then it has here Shema Yisrael. In other words, the banner of saying of God is monotheism. And then afterwards it has from the Song of Songs of Solomon, which the artist felt would be appropriate because Solomon built the first temple. So this is actually where they keep the Torah scrolls to be used on the Sabbath, let's say, for the readings. And so it's nice, though, that, okay, there was the temple on the top, but even though that's not here, but at least we could come close to where it once was and have a nice place that is set aside to pray. And but most of us are going to be down at the Kotel, which is exactly where you are heading.
We're gonna do a Shema here. This is a perfect place, no? Let's stand up and do a Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Leolam Vaed
Baruch Adonai v'yishmarecha. Ye'el Adonai panav elecha v'yidunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine down upon you. May the Lord lift up his countenance to you and give you shalom.
Ah